The glue has set up on the handles. It has cured overnight. So now I'm going to start shaping the handle. I just use the larger grinder to get it started, knock off the big chunks, get it down to the metal, and then I'll do the actual shaping, or more of the shaping, with a smaller 1x30 inch belt sander, and I do that outside of the workshop. So let's get started. I want to change out this 8-inch wheel and put on a different one to kind of fine-tune things a little bit. These wheels just change out. There's an Allen screw and it just pops off. This is the flat platen. You can flop it around and use it as a slack belt area between the two belts, or you can tilt it one way or another to have a smaller wheel to grind that way. And what I'm going to use here is the small wheel here to get in where the little finger groove is. Alright, we've got the excess off, and now we just need to shape the handle, and I'll do that outside on a 1x30 inch belt sander. Just got home from work, and as a lot of you know, that I do a great deal of the knife making work out on a sheet of plywood in the backyard. I've got the little gazebo set up, you know, to keep the sun off me generally. Looks kind of dry in there. And I'm thinking, what could possibly go wrong? It's raining at about 3 inches an hour right now. There's thunder and lightning, and I'd have power tools out there on that sheet of plywood. I might have to hold off for a little bit. Let's get started. The first belt I've got on here is an 80 grit belt. Alright, it's starting to take shape. I always do a slight Coke bottle shape on my handles. I just like the way it feels in the hand. And we'll move to a 120 grit. 120 belts attached. Now we'll move to a 220 grit. And here is a 400 grit belt. An idea what it's going to look like, and it's kind of hard to see because it is getting dark out, but I'll do a little bit of hand sanding on that to take care of a few little high spots, and then we'll run it across the buffer for a final finish. Yeah, there's just something about sitting out back in the evening with the glow of a oil lamp doing some work. It's kind of relaxing. Even the dogs next door, not too bad. Pretty cool dog. Now I'm just doing a little fine hand sanding to get out a couple of the little ridges and stuff that the belt sander leaves. I'm using a 320 grit sandpaper for it. I'll then go with a 500 and then a 1000 grit when I'm done with this. The important thing when you're doing a handle, I think, after you get it attached, make sure it's comfortable in the hand. I don't like sharp edges on the top or the bottom. I like to round them just a little bit. And you want it to be comfortable in the hand. Obviously, you don't want it to slip out of the hand. Again, that's why I do the Coke bottle shape that I do. It gives a pretty good grip, even when wet. And then after we're done sanding this, we'll take it to the buffer and clean it up a little bit. Alright, the next step after it's been cleaned up with the hand sanding is to buff it. Make sure you use a fairly clean buffing wheel on it. I use a little bit of white compound. It's pretty fine. Other compounds that I use are green for polishing metal or for that belt that I showed you, and some black when you're trying to be a little bit more aggressive and get some scratches out. But we're going to use a little bit of white, not too much. the difference when you start to hit it with the buffer. It'll darken it up a little bit, but it takes away all that dust finish to it and gives it a bit of a glow. I know the light's not that great in here at night, but here's a look at it. I'll show it in the sunlight. But the next step is to move on to making the sheath. So we'll do that next. The very last thing I do when I make a knife is sharpen it. I find I cut myself a whole lot less if the knife isn't sharp when I'm working with it. But we'll go on to the sheath making next. I'll see you there.